Good Wednesday afternoon to you, everyone. A happy Wednesday indeed on this warm, sunny day here in Erie County. Isaac Petcat with you for Erie News Now at the Alert Desk tonight. Right now, the House of Representatives is voting for the final time on the COVID-19 stimulus bill that totals $1.9 trillion. This bill would include, in part, $1,400 stimulus checks for Americans making less than $75,000 per year, money to go to state and then subsequently local governments. It would also include $300 a week in extra unemployment insurance, as well as other sectors of relief for vaccine distribution and COVID-19 testing and tracing. Now, we know that this bill has gone through a quick process, quicker than the other two bills, but still had to go through the House twice. If you remember, the House of Representatives passed the bill just a few weeks ago by a large majority party line vote. Then the bill had to go to the Senate, but the Senate made some amendments. They made some changes to that bill, notably striking down the $15 an hour minimum wage provision and decreasing the unemployment benefits per week from $400 to $300. They did this so that Democratic Senator Joe Manchin would be on the side of Democrats to vote along party lines to pass the bill. So why is the bill back in the House now? Well, that's your answer. Because there were amendments made to this bill, there needs now to be another vote in the House so they can vote to either approve or reject the amendments that were made. So in essence, take this as a, in essence, let's think about it this way. You get the approval from your spouse or significant other when you get a haircut. You like it, but then you go get another haircut and you have to get another approval. That's kind of a backwards way, I guess, of thinking about it, a real-world example, but that's what's happening now. So the House has to vote to approve or decline the amendments, and right now the voting process is taking place. Now, the bill is expected to pass here in the next few minutes, so that's why we're with you right now for the moment that it does officially pass and when signed by President Biden becomes a law. Now, again, nothing's for sure. Things could happen. There could be a vote that we're not expecting, but we do expect this bill to pass. So right now we want to take you out to the House of Representatives. You see some of the representatives voting on behalf of their constituents. You'll see the vote tracker come in here in just a little bit. Right now there's about 3 minutes or so left on the vote clock. That does not mean that when the clock runs out, that's what the final vote is. All it means is that that's how much representatives have to get their vote cast. So it's going to probably be, actually, you see the time remaining almost zero right now. It's probably going to be another 10 to 15 minutes before we get the final vote coming in. You see the early vote right now, 74 votes no, 69 votes yes, but we expect that vote will ultimately exceed in the yes column instead of the no column. But again, nothing is for sure. So the votes are coming in. We're going to send it out to the House floor now for some volume, if you will, for some live look-ins, and then we'll come back to you when the final verdict is read and the final result is heard. Again, if this passes the House today, President Biden saying earlier this morning that he is ready to sign the bill immediately once it is brought to his desk. Let's go inside the House floor for some comment.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Indiana seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as a member designated by Mr. McHenry of North Carolina pursuant to House Resolution 8, I inform the House that Mr. McHenry will vote no on the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Virginia seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Mr. McEachin pursuant to H.Res. 8, I inform the House that Mr. McEachin will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319. And as the member designated by Ms. Porter pursuant to H.Res. 8, I inform the House that Ms. Porter will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from New York seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Mr. Moulton of Massachusetts pursuant to H.Res. 8, I inform the House that Mr. Moulton will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
Purpose does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition?
As the member designated by Mr. Thompson of Mississippi, pursuant to H.Res. 8, I inform the House that Mr. Thompson will vote yes. He will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
For what purpose does the gentleman from South Carolina seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as a member designated by Mr. Brian Babin from Texas pursuant to H.R.S. 8, I inform the House that Mr. Babin will vote nay on the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Massachusetts seek recognition?
As the member designated by Ms. Mang pursuant to H-Res 8, I inform the House that Ms. Mang will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New York seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Representative Morelli of New York, pursuant to H-Res 8, I inform the House that Representative Morelli will indeed vote aye on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319. Thank you.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
As the member designated by Mr. Cardenas pursuant to H-Res 8, I inform the
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Florida seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Mr. Hastings of Florida pursuant to H-Res 8, I inform the House that Mr. Hastings will vote yea on the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319. And Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Mr. Payne of New Jersey pursuant to H-Res 8, I inform the House that Mr. Payne will also vote yea on the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Illinois seek recognition?
As the member designated by Mr. Rush, pursuant to H.Res. 8, I inform the House that Mr. Rush will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as member designated by Congressmember Napolitano, pursuant to House Resolution 8, I inform the House that Congressmember Napolitano will vote yes on the Senate amendments to H.R. 1319.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Washington seek recognition?
As the member designated by Ms. Strickland pursuant to HRES 8, I inform the House that Ms. Strickland will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Massachusetts seek recognition?
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. As the member designated by the Honorable James Langevin of Rhode Island and pursuant to House Resolution number 8, I'd like to inform the House that Mr. Langevin will vote yes in concurring in the Senate amendment on H.R. 1319, the American Rescue Plan of 2021. Thank you.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Ohio seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Ms. Fudge pursuant to House Res. 8, I inform the House that Ms. Fudge will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319. Thank you.
Hey, for what for what purpose does the gentleman seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a member designated by Mr. Stubbe of Florida pursuant to HRES 8, I inform the House that Mr. Stubbe will vote no on the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
No. For what purpose does the gentleman from New Jersey seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Ms. Bonnie Watson Coleman pursuant to HRES 8, I inform the House that Ms. Watson Coleman will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
So as you watch the votes slowly coming in here, about 69 more votes left to go before we hit the official vote total. Right now in the yay column 186, the nay column 179. Minus one Democrat who has voted no on this bill. Everyone has voted along party lines for this COVID relief package, and it's really something we've seen on a continuum throughout this entire debate. We saw the House vote the first time nearly along these same lines. We saw the Senate vote exactly along party lines, and if you remember, the Senate had to pass something called reconciliation before they even went to the floor for this bill to have a chance of being passed. Normally, you need a 2/3 majority in the Senate for a bill like this and of this size and caliber to be able to pass through. But the Senate passing reconciliation, which meant that when the bill came to the floor, a simple majority would pass it through. And Democrats at the moment hold a 50-50 majority. And you might ask what a 50-50 majority means. Well, it means that because Kamala Harris is the vice president of the United States and is a Democrat, she represents the tying vote as the president of the Senate. But the Democrats were able to convert that bill out of the Senate by a 50-49 margin. And that's also a big part of the reason why there were amendments made. Again, if you recall, Senator Joe Manchin, the Democrat, was not in favor of many of the provisions in this bill. So there was a lot of revisions, there were a lot of reconciliation within parties, a lot of individuals that were trying to work together to come up with a bill that would allow for Senator Manchin to join his party's side. So that has been a lot of the reason why this bill has gone back to the House, and a large part of the reason as to why we're seeing another vote take place. So right here now, you can see in the House the vote 191 to 186. We are getting close to reaching a final verdict here. You can see the vote coming in. 29 Democrats left to cast their vote, 26 Republicans left to cast their vote. It would take a significant amount of Democrats that are left to vote no for this bill not to pass. And again, as we bring you in here and we continue to talk about this bill, if it does pass in the next few minutes, it is expected to be brought immediately to President Joe Biden, who is expected to sign this bill into law, in his own words, immediately. We're actually as well keeping tabs on Press Secretary Jen Psaki right now, who is holding a news conference. Let me see if I can dial that in here for you. There you see Jen Psaki holding a news conference, Press Secretary to the president. She was talking at length for a good while there, talking about just what the president plans to do. We have learned that there is going to be a couple of individuals that have not yet been named that will help administer this COVID-19 relief bill out to the public. So those stimulus checks, that unemployment relief, that money to state and local governments, it can't just be thrown all into the wind and go where it's supposed to go right away. So that has to happen. So it will take about a week or so for the implementation to really begin. And then towards the middle of March here, we should start seeing that package be pushed out again, should it be approved. Going back to the double box here, 200 votes to 190 to the yay. Another yay vote coming in, another yay vote as we speak. So we're going to send it right now back in full to the House floor, and we'll get the final verdict, we think, here in the next few minutes. And if that is the case, and the verdict is ruled that the Senate amendment bill is carried, it is one step from becoming a law, and that's the president signing it into law. So let's go back to the House floor. Right now on the floor is Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We'll leave you with the House floor for a few more minutes.
H.R. 1319.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Connecticut seek recognition?
As the member designated by Ms. Wilson pursuant to H-Res 8, I inform the House that Ms. Wilson will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319.
All right, 22 votes remaining left on this bill, 211 to the yay, 199 to the nay. As soon as the yays pass
The gentleman from Illinois seek recognition.
Speaker, as the member designated by Mr. Grijalva pursuant to H.Res. 8, I hereby inform the House that Mr. Grijalva will vote yes on the motion to concur in the Senate Amendment H.R. 1319.
Who are not on the floor today. So we bring you back in the double box. Will be about 1.9 trillion. So let's go back to the House floor. So all we're waiting on now is the announcement to be read, but you can see the yay votes out totaling the nays with the number of votes remaining. So it's just a matter of moments here until the verdict is officially read here in the House. So we're just waiting on that. Then we'll come back to you and explain what this could mean for you here in Erie County. And here comes the verdict on the House floor.
On this vote, the yeas are 220, the nays are 211. The motion is adopted. Objection, a motion. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
And with that, it is official on the House floor. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi officially making the announcement. It is passed, folks, after going through the House once, then through the Senate with amendments being made and changes being delivered. The COVID-19 stimulus bill totaling $1.9 trillion has just officially passed the House of Representatives, which means all it now needs to do is go to President Joe Biden's desk, where he will sign it into a law, and then the bill will start to be distributed. Now, for those of you who have not heard what is in the bill right now, we're going to let you know just kind of the key points here. Number one is $1,400 stimulus checks for anyone making less than $75,000 a year or less than $150,000 a year if you're on a joint family income and joint filing taxes. The bill also includes money for additional unemployment insurance. If you do remember, back at the beginning of the pandemic, the stimulus bill allowed for $600 a week on unemployment insurance, in addition to what you would normally get. This is now $300 per week, so $300 a week extra on unemployment if you're on any of the normal or pandemic-created programs. That lasts through August 29th. The bill's also going to give money to state and local governments. Pennsylvania is going to get $13 billion from that. Now, we are hearing word today that Erie County could be receiving money from the state of Pennsylvania as part of that package, and we've been told that money amount is around $53 million. So we'll have to keep you updated as to how much money Erie County could be receiving as part of this stimulus package. We're also keeping tabs on other components in the bill as well. Money heading towards vaccine testing, vaccine tracing, and some money repurposed for small businesses. Now, there has been arguments on both sides, Democrat and Republican, on if this bill is too large or if it is a necessity. Again, the argument on the Republican side is this bill is filled with too much of what the Democrats' agenda is and not actually COVID-19 relief. On the Democratic side, the argument is we need a big spending bill to be able to save people who are struggling from the coronavirus and beat the pandemic a year after it began and really started to hurt places like Erie County and the rest of the country. So there's arguments on both sides. This $1.9 trillion spending package is the second largest of the three that have been passed since the beginning of the pandemic. The one back in March of 2020 was just over $2 trillion. The one at the end of the year in December totaled just shy of $1 trillion. It was in the $900 billion range. This package, at the moment, $1.9 trillion. Now, there was a provision that was a big talking point, a sticking point of this $1.9 trillion package, and that was minimum wage, a $15 minimum wage that was not approved by the House and not taken up by the Senate. So that is something that we expect to be possibly put on the table as a standalone bill in the next coming weeks or months as we move forward here to see if that's something that could potentially become on the table for the House and for the Senate. But at the moment right now, this bill is passed, and all it need be done is President Joe Biden to sign it into law, which he says he expects to do immediately as soon as it's put on his desk. If you're wanting to learn more, we're going to break this down tonight starting at 5 on Erie News Now, and we're going to answer the question for you. Lots of people have been asking, is there not enough COVID relief in this bill specifically? What does this bill contain that makes it as large as $1.9 trillion? Tonight, we're going to explain exactly what it is. We're going to compare this bill to the other two bills, tell you how much money you can expect to see in your pocketbooks of this stimulus package, and how it could affect the economy, the market, and other areas that affect you moving forward. All of that and more is coming up tonight, starting at 5 on Erie News Now. But again, the final vote this evening, 220 to 211 in the House to pass this $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill. A lot more coming up throughout the day, folks, but for now, we'll leave you be on this Wednesday.